Hey guys, what is up? There is a ton of drama on the internet right now. I'm like, where do I start? But I am gonna start with this Joey video and then I'll upload the Gabbie video later. So Joey starts off his video by saying, spoiler alert, the nightmare was actually Gabbie, spoiler alert. And then he goes on to say this.
You do things, Gabbie, to make people not be your friends.
So Joey says the reason why him and Gabbie are no longer friends anymore is because of the way she acted on Escape the Night. Joey goes on to mention that his friend Colleen was actually his #1 supporter anytime he was stressed out on set. And he mentions that the reason why he was stressed out was because of Gabbie. You know, Colleen would be there to help him to relieve some stress. And he said that Colleen was his friend. And then he goes on to say that Gabbie was his friend. But this is what Gabbie did. Take a listen.
Meanwhile, you, who's also my friend, is making life on set a living hell by being disrespectful and rude and mean and foul to not only cast, but crew. Screaming at the director, demanding things, and calling a production assistant a dumb cunt.
The fact that Gabbie called someone a cunt is ridiculous to me. I really dislike it when people, as you can tell from my Dustin daily rant yesterday, I really dislike it when people, when they're arguing with someone, why not just argue on the point that you're arguing with? Why do you need to call someone out of their name or make fun of someone's appearance? Things like that. But at this moment, and mind you, we're only 2 minutes into the video, and this is a 16-minute video. At this moment, I'm sitting here like, oh shit, I believe him. Like, you know that moment you have where you're just listening to someone and you're on like a human level, like forget like, you know, all the drama around, and you're just listening to them, and I'm like, shit, I believe you. Obviously, I'm going to summarize the rest of the video, but I just wanted to let you know, 2 minutes into the video, that's how I felt. Joey goes on to say that regardless of what mental illness issue a person may have, that's not how you treat your friends. He then goes on to thank Rosanna and other people who have come out on Twitter to really, you know, state how it was filming around Gabbie and how she acted. I'm gonna leave what Rosanna wrote on Twitter, but she says, 1, that Gabbie didn't show up to her fittings. 2, to summarize it, you know, the entire cast was set in dietary restrictions, like a form, so they were able to list, you know, what they wanted to eat and all that jazz. 3, she witnessed Daniel leaving set to go get Gabbie any food that she wanted. And then 4, during the photo shoot press day, after the show wrapped, Gabbie called one of the female production assistants a dumb cunt. Then Joey starts to talk about his interview with Trisha Paytas when he was talking about the drama behind the scenes on season 4.
Only one out of all 4 seasons someone like had an issue with dying.
Oh, there was one in season 4 too.
Really?
Sure. Yeah, that was season 4 was my least favorite to film by far.
Why?
Just because
drama.
Of this one person on the cast who just made it hell.
Really? And how do you stay out of like not talking about drama? You never talk about things. I would call people out left, right, and center.
No, honestly, I could have, and I could have like exposed a lot of receipts, but yeah. I don't know. I guess I don't put out that energy.
So I had to like pause this for a second, and I was like, you know, okay, if Gabbie Hanna was, you know, making a series about me or whatever, YouTube video, and I truly felt like that was wrong, I'm gonna tell my truth.
People were able to figure out who it was based off your past actions. It wasn't hard for people to connect the dots because you've set the standard of who you are online. So that wasn't me, that was you.
Now, Joey, he throws some shade in there. This whole entire video is filled with shade towards Gabbie. Anyways, Joey goes on to say like 5 minutes into the video that he didn't beg Gabbie to be on the show. Because, you know, Gabbie, she had said that, or she initially said no to season 4 when her agent asked. And Joey said that he texted Gabbie and was like, hey, you know, we really want you to be on the show, but he was like, there was no begging. And he was like, she was my friend at the time, and she was in so many scandals, and he thought he was doing her a favor. So Joey's like, I didn't see anything wrong with that. Sorry for wanting you to be on a show with a lot of fans. Guys, he does go on to say, he tells her to go live in her delusional world. He's sure it's more comfy for her. And I'm like, I'm telling you, there's shade throughout this whole entire video. And then he goes on to say that half of the cast, by the way, has ADHD, and none of them acted the way that Gabbie did. Then he starts to talk about Gabbie's ED that she mentioned in her video, and he's like, no, like, the crew is given basically what Rosanna said, that, you know, everyone is given a sheet where they can fill out, you know, their restrictions, what they can eat, and all that jazz. And he goes, she did not fill hers out until the first day on set.
Gabbie didn't fill this out until the day we were on set. Miss Gabbie, can we do a little BTS moment? How is she? Look at, she's got her yellow hair on.
We're doing
She's practicing her script.
filling out my medical information.
Yeah, I believe Joey. And then on top of that, Joey also talked about how Daniel went up and above. He was taking care of so many things, had so many responsibilities, and he had time to leave set, to go to Whole Foods, to buy Gabbie her 3 meals with all these different restrictions. And Daniel says, or not Daniel, but Joey says that she wouldn't even eat it. Joey thinks that Gabbie didn't even care about the food. It was more of like a power play. And then Joey starts to dive into Gabbie's fitting. So he talks about, which is basically what Rosanna said too, how she didn't show up for her fittings. But he gives a more detailed version.
We offered to meet you at your music studio that you accepted. And when the costume designer, who was actually 9 months pregnant at the time, drove across town to go to your music studio, you stood her up.
Gabbie couldn't even make it to the fitting, and so they agreed that they were going to drive to where she was at for the fitting, and she didn't even show up for that. And now it's like all coming clear when you hear both sides to the story, because I'm sitting there taking notes with Joey and Gabbie, and I was like, okay, pretty much my opinions toward the end of the last video is what Joey was saying happened. Like, so at the end of day 2 on set, I guess Gabbie didn't like the call time, and so she was arguing with someone from production or whatever, saying that she wasn't going to come in. She signed a contract, so she has to come in when she's told to come in, whatever that time is. Joey goes, after her argument with that, you know, he had to talk to Gabbie's manager saying, hey, you know, she signed a contract, so she has to show up. Joey goes, when he talked to Gabbie's manager, Gabbie's manager apologizes like crazy and says, you know, I'm about to drop her after this gig because she's had like so many problems and he was tired of her. And I thought, for one, how unprofessional of a manager. But then I thought, when you're like working as a manager, you want to network, you want to keep those connections, because, you know, that manager has other like, what do you call them, like clients or whatever, but you know what I mean. So I was like, okay. I still believe Joey, but I was like, that's very interesting that the manager decided to spill the tea about Gabbie to Joey. After that incident, Joey goes on to say that he met with the director the next day and they decided they were going to kill Gabbie off the show, that it was just the best option because, you know, she was stressing out everyone. He said that the energy on the set, it just was very negative and no one was really happy with her on it. Joey goes on to say that the reason why he was so nice to Gabbie was because of this. Take a listen.
I obviously didn't want her walking off, and I had to do what I had to do to protect me and protect the show. So if that's fake Gabbie, well, it's what I had to do.
It's pretty understandable because, you know, Joey says he had to think about the cast as a whole. He wanted to protect the show, so he didn't want her walking off set totally. And keep in mind, you know, even after they killed Gabbie off, she still had to come back for photos for like the billboards and all that jazz. So he still wanted to keep it professional. In the last video, I was saying how I felt like, you know, that's all it was. The text messages that Gabbie was showing us, it was just him trying to keep a professional relationship until he no longer really needed her. Joey then dives into how Gabbie knows what set life is like. She was here on season 2. And so I'm so sorry for like the Gabbie stans, but I believe every word that's coming out of Joey's mouth. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. I believe it. And I don't have like all this proof. It's just something I believe in. Like, I don't believe he's making this up. Joey then goes on to call Gabbie scary. He's like, Gabbie, the reason why you have all of these fake friends is because they're probably scared to break it off with you because you're scary. And I was like, ooh, that's a jab. But he was just keeping it real. Joey even says that if he told Gabbie the truth back then, he was like, none of that would have changed because she's so delusional. And he was just like, when she left set, you know, everyone's skins were clear again. And I was just like, the shade in this video. And then at the end of the video, Joey tells us a story about how when the show wrapped up, they still had to take some photos for the billboards and all that jazz. And how Gabbie did not like her call time because she had a gym class appointment or gym appointment. And Joey's like, here's Colleen, was like breastfeeding on set and is doing all this, but Gabbie can't because she has to go to the gym. Apparently that same day, Gabbie had an argument about the call time and called one of the production assistants a dumb cunt, which is mind-blowing to me, and it's crazy how Gabbie left that out of her series. Joey ends the video by saying that he hopes he can find the audio, he's gonna find some footage, and I'm just gonna keep it real with you. I want to see the footage. It's not that I don't believe him, it's that I wonder if Gabbie, because now I completely believe Joey with this, so I wonder if Gabbie saw that herself, like how would she explain that if she could, right? So that was this whole video, and I'm so speechless. Like, I'm pissed off because I feel like, Gabbie, you missed your fittings. Like, I know she can kind of back that up by saying, look, I told you guys in my video I didn't like the call times. The hours were crazy. That's not for me. So I feel like she dressed over it by saying vague things. But I feel like if you're going to make a series about someone, then you need to be detailed. Like, you just need to be detailed because it just comes off as Gabbie is a liar. Like, why wouldn't you tell us that they did give you a sheet to fill out for your food, but the first day you filled it out was when you were on set? Why wouldn't you tell us that you missed 2 fittings and they agreed to come to you? Why wouldn't you tell us that you had Daniel go to Whole Foods to get you 3 foods and you never even ate it? Like, I believe Joey when he says that. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think. I'm upset. I'm speechless. And it's like, do I believe anything else she says at this point now? You know? And I hate to call her delusional and hop on that train, but, you know, it's crossing my mind a little bit, if I'm just being honest. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching, and yeah, we got this going on. And then we got some water going on because the drama is it's just crazy right now. She has the internet on fire. But anyways, okay. I will see you on the next video. Bye, guys.